At Detailing Growth, we don't just build websites, we create conversion engines. And we've done it hundreds of times for some of the biggest, baddest shops in the entire country. These aren't just websites. They're websites built using my RACE framework. Recognize, align, client-centric benefits, and execute. We've spent years honing this system, upgrading it with every build, learning what works, learning what doesn't, and evolving this every step of the way. That's why the industry's leading shops choose Detailing Growth.
I highly recommend Detailing Growth. If you want to grow, if you really want to excel in your area, and if you want to dominate your competition.
You guys are the most professional looking shop, top to bottom.
You have a detailing, PPF, window tinting, ceramic coating business. Highly recommend going to Detailing Growth. The only company you'll need to work with.
Go with Detailing Growth. That's what you need for your business.
The Talkin podcast is brought to you by Detailing Growth. That's detailinggrowth.com. Detailing Growth is the industry's only US-based full stack agency that provides you with full custom web design, ongoing SEO, local SEO via Google Business Profile, ad management for Google and Meta, and an entire business suite of automations with our Grit Suite CRM. Detailing Growth also helps businesses with consulting and business coaching and systems implementation. Head over to detailinggrowth.com and sign up for a free strategy session. Give me 60 seconds and I'm going to tell you why your marketing strategy sucks for your shop. If you run a detail, window tint, or specialize in ceramic coatings and paint protection film, you may have found yourself asking, why aren't we getting enough leads? The problem is deeper than exposure or awareness. It's about the system behind your business. A basic website and occasional ads is not going to cut it. My own shop was once in the same position. We have the skills, we got the drive, we got the passion, but not enough cars in the shop to do the work. After testing and refining a comprehensive strategy, everything changed. That's how my shop scaled to 7 figures. The system isn't a one-off success. It's been adapted and applied across the industry, from detailers just starting out to established businesses scaling to 7 and even 8 figures. Set up a call with me at the link below. We'll audit your current strategy, and I'm going to tell you how we can help you fix your marketing, grow faster, and do it better. Here we go. Can you hear me? All right. Tyler, can you hear me?
I can hear you. What's going on, man?
Where's your mic at? That's better.
My kids always mess with the gain, so I think it's turned all the way up.
It sounds good. You just got to talk into it.
There
Hey,
you go.
everybody. Thank you for tuning in. This is going to be our first live episode of the Talking Paint podcast. And we're streaming live everywhere on Facebook. We're in our group, Detailer OS. We're on our YouTube. We're on Instagram. So we're all over the place right now. And today I'm joined by my partner, Tyler, who is our ops guy who kind of runs the back end here. And if you're working with us, you know him very well. You're talking to him on a daily basis, him and the rest of the ops team. So today we're just we're hoping to inspire the masses, right? And kind of bring some ideas to them. So Tyler, first off, you're like off center.
That's right. I like to be off center.
Yeah.
And that way nobody knows what's going to happen next.
Exactly. I like that. Always keep them guessing.
That's right. How's that?
You know,
Is that better for
there
you?
you go. Yeah, that looks good. The I think that finally, you know, warmer weather's approaching, and we're starting to get messages about people who are like, I'm ready to start. Well, you know, truthfully, we should have been doing that months ago. To keep your foot on the gas, but you know, that's just kind of how she rolls. Um, I think I think that we're also seeing a lot more shops struggled through 2024, and it continues into 2025. And now we've got the tariffs going on, so like everybody's kind of unsure about that. But I think that you and I were talking earlier, and we were just like, this is one of those times where you've just got to embrace the suck.
That's right. I mean, it's business is as hard as it, as it's been ever. Business isn't easy. So I think a lot of people, in any industry, but definitely this industry, they kind of rode the wave for a while and didn't maybe have to embrace the suck. And you could just start a business and kind of roll with it, and you got a bunch of good wins and cool. But now they're really starting to hit, and people are having to get out of their comfort zone and do different things that they never had to do.
Yeah, I mean, I can't tell you how many times we've heard the, I never have to advertise, I never had to advertise thing, right? But now we're seeing, people are popping up shops left and right, and they're doing work for cheap because they're not informed. And the truth is, like, those shops don't ever last long, but at the same time, it makes it difficult for these guys because they don't know what they're dealing with. And I think that in the last 3 weeks, I fielded more frustrated operators in my DMs that are just kind of like, they're kind of in a position where they've never been here before, and they're like, I didn't sign up for this. And I think the first point on this list I have here, because we ran a little bit of prep here about just kind of what we were going to talk about, is, and that's, the suck is non-negotiable, man. The suck is non-negotiable. You don't get to skip it, and you don't get to not do it and not deal with it. It's just a part of it. But I think the grind isn't optional at the end of the day. Like, grind mode isn't optional.
It's gonna find you sooner or later if it hasn't hit you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that I think everybody has heard I want my, I want to have work-life balance, and I don't want to work all day and all night. Well, the reality of that is that you're going to have to work your ass off during the build stage. That's where you're in build mode, and that means grind mode, and that means other shit has to suffer. Like, it just has, like, it's just can't be the primary focus. Like, you can't let outside distractions pull you in for every little thing.
I think, you certainly can, but you have to accept the reality of what that's going to, do. There's a lot of people that are like, hey, I want to grow, but I'm not willing to do this to make it happen.
They're not willing to put the work in.
Right. Yeah.
That frustrates the hell out of me, because if I know that I've got to do something, and I know I have to, like, do a specific thing or put a system in place in order to achieve said outcome, I'm going to do it by God. I'll die otherwise. Otherwise, like, I'm the type of person that's like, if I have to put the system in place and I have to do the specific work, I'm going to show up to do that. Because at the end of the day, you don't get a chance to have what you truly want without it. So what do? You just sit there and cry? You cry about it? You don't put the time and energy into doing it? Like, that's like, I don't know what else to say other than, you said it, or you said it already. I think, you know what? I think Casey Richardson said it best to me. He was like, "Oh, business is hard." Business is hard. Yeah, it's very hard. And, like, I can't help but just not feel bad for him.
Yeah.
Anymore, because like there's some guys that work with us that have just genuinely been handed a really shitty stick, but like some of them get a pass, but for the vast majority of them, man, it's just like, I don't know if it's stubbornness, or I don't know if it's just like, what do they call that, where once you hear something and you believe it is truth, that's the only thing that you believe, and you can't be told something else. What do they call that? I can't remember off the top of my head, but that's a real thing, and we deal with that all the time.
Yeah.
Like, you can't tell anybody anything else.
Well, people think they have their own truths, and there's just truth. There's no my truth and your truth. There's just truth, and the truth is that you have to embrace the suck, like we're talking about. Well, again, it's going to find you at one point in your journey, and I think a lot of people are finding it now, or it's finding them now.
Mm-hmm.
And so they just have to get over anything that happened in the past. Things are not like they were, and look at everyone that is succeeding. They're not looking backwards. They're not making excuses. They're just moving forward.
They're just 10xing an execution.
Yeah. And like the people that are listening to advice that, we give, not that, all advice is great advice, but like, I don't care whose advice you take, just take advice and barrel through, and you'll find wins as long as you're consistent with it. I
agree. And there's also like this thing where guys just continue to make the same mistakes, and they make them over and over and over and over, and they never learn from them. And I think at the end of the day, your roster of mistakes defines you, because if you run into the same issue, whatever that is, over and over and over, maybe just for 1 minute, we consider that you might be the problem. Now, listen, that's not me.
Be careful there.
Yeah, right.
You might hurt some feelings.
Right. And listen, I know that we and us as an agency are very, very, and most marketers, I think, are very quick to ask, what is the process? What are you doing to prevent this from happening on your end, before we look into what we're doing as an agency? And that's every agency out there will immediately ask you first, tell me about what your process is. And everybody immediately,
that's what they should be doing. Not that every agency does it.
I think right, they should be doing that. They should be asking what the process is, so that they can understand if there's something that needs to be fixed inside of that business. And you and I have done this at every single level, all the way from, making $0 all the way to doing 8 figures a year. So the one universal truth is that we always ask about the process. And I would say almost 9 times out of 10, we find the process broken. And the process is not just slightly broken. It's very broken. Very.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, you hear us harp on systems all day. Like, how can you expect to have a good outcome and to say, I'm showing up and I'm doing everything I can, if you don't have the bare minimums in place?
Yeah. Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. I know a lot of business owners, I'm sure you do too, that have gotten to 7 figures and beyond with broken systems.
Oh yeah.
You can make a ton of money, right? But when you get to a point, no matter what point you're at in business, whether you're making $5,000 a month or $500,000 a month, you get to a point where, like, I'm tired and I want this thing to grow the right way, right? You have to make a decision right then and there of, am I going to keep doing what I'm doing and burn myself out? Or am I finally going to stop my stubbornness and change my ways to be able to scale? Because there's difference in growth and scale, and most people don't understand that, right? And I love the kind of the quote, what got you here is not going to get you there. And defines it so simply.
I agree. I put a post out maybe 3 or 4 months ago. I think it was the your clients hate cars post. That was the most engaged with piece of content that I've ever put out, ever. And I refer back to that all the time, because it might be the most synonymous and truthful thing related to the sector that we work with, just detailers and auto film shops. It is like the system that got you to where you are does not get you to where you want to go next. And that kind of comes, and I think that comes down to, one, Are you willing to be accountable? Are you willing to be accountable for mistakes you've made and for actions you need to be taking? And are you disciplined enough to show up for it and be accountable every day? And if you're not, then what are we relying on? Is it just you trying to brute force motivation? Because motivation isn't it. That's not enough. It has to be discipline. And I think maybe the bigger picture here that I'm getting on is that everybody believes that there's one way to do something. There's not two ways. There's no other way to move, to like go up the ramp. There's no other way to pull back. Like we're taking off, right? And I think who said this? I think a lot of people are building the plane, or they're on the runway and they're like bolting the wings onto the plane as they're taking off. Right.
Yeah.
And like I think that's most businesses though. Like
any entrepreneur,
you learn as you go. Any entrepreneur, you're like learning that lesson as you go, right? But I think that it just occasionally you might want to just glance ahead to see if there's more runway in front of you. You may want to just like stop turning the ratchet and bolting the wings onto the plane and look ahead. Just maybe once. And and I don't know how many times you and I have to have this conversation with people, and I don't know what else I can say to them. And it's frustrating for me, and that's why I'm hitting on this like that. It's very frustrating for me because I find myself repeating myself a lot.
I mean, that's what makes it so hard. And you know, I think we kind of talked about it the other day, or I made a post, I can't remember. It was like the difference between like a marketing agency and a growth agency, right? And like, what's hard about this is like a marketing agency will just do the marketing work and wipe your hands clean. It's kind of like a 9 to 5, right? You go in, you clock out, you're done, right? Whereas growth agencies, you got to deal with all the shit, you know, and if you care, which we do, you know, we gotta cut through all of it and really, you know, find the root of the problem and dig deep. That's where, I mean, you and I know that's where the breakthroughs happen.
Yep.
You know,
and I think that, you know, I think that's really important that you hit on that. Is there's a big difference between a marketing agency and a growth agency. Like you said, there's a massive difference. There's like the marketing agency is just willing to punch the clock and like say you're delivering, like these are the deliverables that I'm doing. And like you and I have been through enough masterminds and educational programs in marketing and training courses from Meta and Google and all of that to know that, you know, the biggest thing that they teach everybody is deliverables. And that's that, like you hit your deliverables list. And that's a big reason why we don't have it. We don't have a hard deliverables list because every business and their needs is different. And that's why we do this the way that we do, because there's no other solution out there. Because truthfully, if we're really honest, most marketers don't want to deal with this because this is frustrating, having to like rip people's businesses apart and find the broken pieces.
Look at AI and everything that it's you know, able to build and things. The dream is build it once and put it on repeat and, you know, wipe your hands clean of it. Right. So yeah, this is so much harder, so much harder. And you know, I have conversations about it and I'm like, man, wouldn't it be easier? I think we've talked about this. Wouldn't it be easier if we just did this, this, and this, and then be done? And the answer is yes, but I don't know that that's who we are. So,
and I don't think, and like the other part of this is that people genuinely think that most marketers are going to solve their problems, and like that's just not, that just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
That it like, even as a growth agency, we can't solve all the problems. Like we can point them out and make sure that they're glaring super bright and that you understand them.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, it's on the business to take action. And like 100%. you as a business owner, it doesn't matter if you're a detailer or another entrepreneur, if somebody highlights and tells you this is fundamentally broken, and all you do is come up with excuse after excuse after excuse as to why you can't or won't or shouldn't make that change, what else can that agency do for you? If like factually, if you're presented information that is correct, and you just refuse to hear it and don't understand it, what else can a marketer or a mentor or your even your own team, what can they do for you if you're not willing to make the change?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't, I didn't want to obviously, come on here to talk about, agency stuff and, the difference and all that stuff. But I kind of want to get back to obviously the business.
Yeah, I went down the rabbit hole.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's important it's important because I think it leads into like what you said just recently. It's up to the business owner, right? It always is. It always will be. I always joke with people like, if we help grow a business, let's say 10x, we're only like 10% of that. You know what I mean? So what's going to make the difference is these business owners. Scenario the other day was, when I had a conversation with someone about, ads and SEO, I was like, oh, well, just do this first and then see what happens. And then it clicked, they did it, and then it clicked, and now they're booked out next week. And it's like, it's that simple of a concept where if you just take action, you'll see results.
Execution.
That's it.
Execution is the solution.
That's right.
Clip it and ship it.
Yeah.
Execution is the solution.
But I think something important really to kind of go off of that though is like some people are going to do it and get it and it's going to work right away. Other people, they're going to do it and they might get it, but it's not going to work right away. And that's where like social media is a killer, right? Not just in business, but in life too. Like you see the grass is greener over there and you're like, well, why isn't my grass greener? I'm doing the same thing. Right. And so like, that's super important. Like you're on your own path. Don't look over here. Like my son plays T-ball or baseball. Right. And they're getting into coach pitch and all that. So when he runs from home plate to first base after hitting the ball, he's always like looking at where the ball is and like, no, put your blinders on. Put your blinders on. When you're running from home plate to first base, put your blinders on. When you're running from first to second or second to third, you got to be aware. Right.
Oh, yeah. Because you're taught to run through the bag on first.
Exactly.
And to run it full flat out.
The problem is most people are still running to first in business, but they're looking around.
Yep. They haven't gotten to second base yet. Yeah. They haven't even rounded first yet.
That's what I mean. Yeah. They haven't rounded first yet.
That's a really solid analogy, actually. And I really like that. When you've quoted, clip it and ship it, baby. Clip it and ship it. Right. Clip it. I think that
that was not scripted, by the way. I just came up with that.
No, but it's honestly, and like, listen, all I do is work. I don't do any family stuff. I don't have kids. All I do is work. So you have all the real world experience. I just live here. So, I think that's a really solid point, is that if you know that you have a mission in front of you and you know that you need to reach that destination, right? And if we come back to baseball, like you're taught to run flat out, 1,000% effort. You're taught to run full out all the way to first, and you're supposed to run through the bag so that you don't need to worry about stopping and you don't lose any forward velocity.
That's right.
And the problem, right? The analogy is that if you're supposed to be running all the way to first and you're looking at the ball and see where the ball is, that immediately tells me that you're number one, you're distracted, right? And you're looking for I think you might be looking for the easier path, right? And people want the quick win.
Yeah.
When the quick win isn't the sustainable win, and the quick win isn't the smart win, and the quick win also isn't going to be the one that pulls on any growth levers and scale levers whatsoever. And I think that's most frustrating for me, because I've always been laser focused as much as I can be as an ADHD based individual. I'm neurospicy, as they say. I've always set, when I know that I need to go somewhere, I make sure that I'm focused on it and I don't let anything else distract me. Yeah. But at the same time, it's easy to always be glancing around and looking. And I think that's what a lot of these guys do is they're operating from such a swivel-headed position that they never really truly realize how focused they need to be.
Yeah.
On the
they're looking for
prize.
the shortcut, like you said. They're
Mhm.
and if we're talking baseball still, they're trying to utilize the torpedo bat that's out there right now.
Mm.
They're looking for the torpedo bat that's going to hit them a home run when
Mhm.
in reality they don't even know how to swing it, and that's where now oh my gosh, now I got to run to first, right? But no, it's like seriously, like you're right. You were and still are, right, laser focused. So I kind of picture back on like when you were mobile and you went so fast from mobile in your Suburban right to the shop and grew the shop. Like not many people can say they did that.
I was
Right.
laser focused on that,
And
man.
so,
I didn't want to
yeah,
hear
that's what it comes
nothing
down
from
to.
I didn't want to hear nothing from nobody else.
Exactly.
I heard the right advice from people and I put that into action.
Mhm.
Like I was asking about I was learning in hiring, and I was learning management, and I was learning like how to manage contractor costs and all of those things. I definitely don't regret it. I don't.
But it wasn't just learning though. Like you did all of that.
Mhm.
Right? Most of these people are just like they got all these Facebook groups and they got all these resources and all these gurus, and they're just taking all the information in and they don't know what's what and they're not doing anything.
Mm.
And so like I told someone the other day, like just I don't care who you pick somebody that you trust, listen to them and go do it.
Mm.
That's it. Don't listen to anybody else. Don't do anything else. Just that.
And that's like we're in the age now of where information is aplenty.
Oh yeah.
Like
it's
you
not
can
easy.
you can teach yourself to do anything that we do. Truly. Like none of that is inherently a secret. The implementation, there's some secret sauce to that, and a lot of things that we hold close because it's come from years of worth of experience. But at the same time, like if you want to learn how to manage your SEO, you can go talk to AI and learn that. You can go take any number of Coursera courses that are free, or jump into Google's own like SEO courses and learn that stuff if you really want to. But at the same time, like how do you realistically expect to execute them effectively? Because you have to bring a certain level of excellence to anything that you do.
Yeah.
Right.
I know you love this joke. We're all out here selling potatoes. Right?
Yeah.
We're all out here selling potatoes, but how are you gonna dress it up? Right? Is it gonna be a French fry or baked potato? I actually saw a picture the other day. It was I'm sure it's been floating around most people. It's like entrepreneurship versus businessman. It was like the watermelon stand. Right. And it was just like a bunch of watermelons, uncut, just plain boring looking watermelons. And then the entrepreneur had like the cut open watermelon so you could see the juice on the inside. He had some in a cup, like watermelon juice. Like, and so like that's the difference between, plain Jane, right, and then executing and you know what I'm saying? That's a dressed up potato.
Right. And I think that I was just going somewhere with that. Bro, that just
We got off track a little bit. We're kind of talking,
dude. Like it just like right out of my brain.
No, but I think kind of making sure that we hit on, maybe the listener that is struggling, because I mean I can't tell you how many conversations I have, and I know you have too, every single week of people looking for advice and just struggling overall.
And maybe I think everybody is obsessed with growth. Like business growth is something that happens and can happen over time. Right. And truthfully, that's the best kind of growth is the organic style of growth. But everybody wants to grow faster. And I think one of the bigger pieces is that most people they don't understand that they're over leveraged, and they don't foresee that. So they're asking for growth and wanting growth, but they don't have any sustainable measure or system to ensure that what they have stays fulfilled. Right. So and you and I have talked about this all the time previously on like scaling on ads is like not the way to go as a newer shop and a newer business. So this is, and I think I may have just finally figured out how to word this for people, is because I've been struggling to put it into words other than you're all a bunch of jerks. And that's not right, because truthfully, just most people, you don't know what you don't know until you know it.
Right.
And that's okay. But what's not okay is to, once you know it, continue being a jerk and doing the bad thing. So I think that what it comes down to is that if you're in a position where you need ads to survive and you need ads to keep your team employed, that tells me that you are punching up. You're punching above your weight in terms of what your capabilities are, right? And like the goal is always be punching up, right? Like the goal is to always swing upwards, but it can't be a haymaker upwards every single time, because then you're just gassed and exhausted, and you have nothing that you can do except just walk around exhausted all the time. And what that means is that you've usually put too much into growth before you were ready organically for it, because it all comes down to, have you been around and at it long enough? Because if you haven't been there and you don't have enough, we call this trust currency. If you don't have enough trust currency in your market and you haven't been there to deliver and grow that trust and build brand trust, then there's truly no reason you should be spending an absorbent amount on ads just to push for growth, right? It's great to use ads to start to do that. But if you're building prematurely and you're not executing on what those opportunities bring, and this is the next component that I get into, is what everybody is missing, is that if you're not executing on the referral that you're getting from those opportunities and those closes, if you don't have that referral ask lined up, that's why you largely end up over leveraged and you've got too much overhead and you don't have enough work coming in.
Yeah.
And the referral only comes if you deliver an amazing experience, like over the top brand experience, unexpected level of service that people are genuinely surprised by.
Right.
Because that's what really moves the referral needle forward. And then flat, just asking for them. You have to ask for referrals. You have to have a system for referrals. It doesn't mean you need to have software.
Right.
A system isn't software. A system is strictly a method or mechanism that you rely on repeatedly, that you can do and always get a repeatable outcome, right? And so that means that a system is as simple as putting your polishing pads back in the same place. A system is like, every day you come into the shop, you turn the lights on in a specific order, you unlock the door, right? That's a system.
Yep.
And all of that comes full circle to, if you're hitting all those points and if you're delivering on the experience for the brand and the client, making them feel like they can trust you and that they feel trusted, they trust you enough to give your information out in a referral. Those are the opportunities that the ads provide for you that are free multipliers. And that's what you need to scale, is you need the multipliers. It can't just be one-to-one opportunities, because like the conversion doesn't work that way. You're never going to convert enough people to grow. It has to be on referrals, and you have to have a system to make those multiply.
Yeah.
And that's the piece that I think everybody is missing. And you know who does it best? Grant Menard. Grant Menard built himself a referral-based business. And I have heard Grant's pitch for referrals so many times, and I've seen the cards that he uses. I've seen him do it in person. I've seen it like at his tacos and tailpipes event, which is like the best version of a cars and coffee you could ever think of.
I
Because
just had a
coffee,
taco for lunch.
because listen, coffee sucks and tacos are better. Okay, print it, clip it, and ship it.
Sure.
But that's why Grant's been able to do this without relying heavily on advertising like Google Ads, where the costs are out of control. So maybe the takeaway from today is the gold nugget is you better figure out how to get those referrals. And because if you can't, you need to fix the business and make it start delivering in a way to where people bend over backwards to give you referrals. And that is how you grow and scale. Because if you're just scaling on hard income, you run into the issue where your burn rate on cash is going to flip over and you're going to be hedging against yourself. And there's just not enough capital for that when you're like not doing 8 figures a year.
But people can't refer
over.
People can't refer business to, subpar service. So
and listen, hold on. Now, subpar is like, you say subpar and people might think like, I'm not giving subpar service. I'm giving them exactly what they asked for. Right. And exactly what they asked for isn't stellar service. That's acceptable service. Stellar and exceptional and amazing service is always right. Expected service is not exceptional service.
Yeah. Now
there's a big difference there.
The levels of service.
Oh, yeah. Hold on. That's a great pivot. And I think you should hit on that.
Well, I can't remember all the levels, but the concept is super simple, right? You got, criminal, right? And then you have like unbelievable at the top, right? And most people fall at the expected in the middle. And if you give the expected, your referrals aren't going to come in.
Exactly.
Right? So you have to go above and beyond. And the unfortunate part about the levels of service is they're always moving. And so once you go above and beyond, that's eventually going to become expected, right? And the market's going to meet that. Now you got to go above and beyond again and again and again. And right, that's where you get people to undercut the price wars and all that stuff. But guess what? You still got to go over above and beyond, right? Because service will beat out pricing anytime, right? For the right client and for your business. So yeah, you got to make sure you're building that foundation before you can, confidently ask for a referral, I think.
And maybe that's truly what I build out next is I build a concrete, like one-to-one, this is how you do it referral system. Because it's like I say these things and people, they don't, it's they can't see through the middle, right? Yeah. And like see through to the implementation steps. And truthfully, like if you don't, and I think that maybe if you don't have that mindset and you don't know what you don't know, then it's hard to implement. Although
it goes back to what we started talking about in the beginning. It's not necessarily they don't have a mindset. You're not willing to have that mindset. You're not willing to make those changes to be able to do it, right? So full circle.
Shit.
Right? So there's several people that aren't willing to change that can't get past that expected stage.
Man.
Right? So
damn. Son of a
It's almost like we should put a podcast together or something.
Bro, I know. Wouldn't it be wild if we had a podcast? Holy cow, man. Dude, that's that blows my ever-loving mind that we just came full circle like that. And like dang. I get that's wild that we just did that.
So I think the moral of the story is
I'm speechless.
Man, I can't get over. I promise this will relate, but I can't get over the people that, because this happened like all week long. I called a business, and the person on the other end answered, and they went, "Hello," like hello, like that was it. Not like, "Hey, this is so and so with so and so. How are you doing today?" It was like, "Hello," and then there's also another business.
Oh yeah, you got it.
I told you this earlier. I texted them, right, and I'll be honest, I wasn't after their services. I was fishing, okay. And so I texted them 3 days later or 2 days later. They texted me with a wall of just pricing, of all their services, They didn't even know who I was. They didn't know what I needed, nothing. And like all these little things will never get you a referral. They'll never get you the business you want. But they're the same people that are like, well, it's working for them, but it's not working for me. I'm putting in the work.
No, the fuck you're not.
No, you're not.
No shot, dude. No fucking shot.
It just blows my mind that there's actual business owners out there that do that, and that, you know, don't answer their phone, or they don't think they can call back.
Oh, that guy you told me about
I
today.
don't even want to go down that road. You know what I mean?
my
But,
God.
like, it's like when a lead calls, you better call them back.
Yeah, dude.
You better ask them what they had for breakfast and what they're eating for dinner, right? Like,
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, build a short relationship with these people, so that way you can deliver that unbelievable service.
That's it. And it's just that little bit of humanization that you bring to every conversation.
Yeah.
That's all it takes, truly. Like, I don't know if I could say it better than that. Like, you need to truly be able to humanize the every conversation that you have.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're having a bad day and you're not happy, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, that's
You
you have to put that on pause.
Yeah, dude, you have to pause that, because if you carry that into every conversation and every lead conversation that you have, like, you let that shit attitude carry through in calling the next person, when you like figured out like you didn't get a proposal, or you didn't win a bid. You know, listen, I understand things happen, and like, it's okay to feel shitty, and like, it's okay to be upset about those things, right? But what's not okay is to pick up the phone and then transfer that into the conversation with the next person.
100%.
Because that comes off in tone, speaking speed, like reply speed, inflection, all the things that make people feel uncomfortable. Even if you don't explicitly think that person is a bad person, or they're not causing you any anguish, if your previous experience is now flowing through how you speak, the sales monster knows that, right? Because the sales monster is a living, eating, and a breathing thing. And if you don't believe me, you are going to be very sorely mistaken once you start spending big money on leads.
Mm-hmm.
Because the sales monster knows, that's what I'm just going to call it. Sales knows the second that you need it. And you've heard me say this before. The sales monster knows that when you need it, the second it senses that, it runs far away. Because the sales monster understands that desperate people are not to be trusted.
Mm.
That's what sales thinks and understands. Desperation equals low or no trust.
Yes. Again, coming back around here, talking about trust and building up that you know, brand experience, right? I think an important thing that we didn't really touch on too is like people might be hearing this, right? Or they will hear this and they go, oh, well, I have my logo and I have my website and I have these little things there's my brand and people should trust me.
No,
absolutely not.
No.
And it doesn't take a week. It doesn't take a month. Sometimes it doesn't take 6 months. Sometimes it takes years. And that's what people, especially younger business owners, aren't willing to put in. They're not willing to grind it out for years.
Mm-hmm.
And
truthfully, like, the world has changed a lot, and a lot of them don't have that opportunity. And like, that's a whole nother issue in and of itself. Like, that's, you know, just how shit worked out. But like, I get it from that standpoint, but you're right. There's a lot of people who aren't willing to take the time to understand that. And what they'll do is that when you and I give them that information and like say like, look, you got some more work to do, they'll go somewhere else to just find somebody else that's willing to agree with them.
Yeah.
Instead of hearing somebody who's seen it happen and seen what happens when you don't have it right.
Yeah.
So they go to the next person, whether they're more expensive or less expensive. They go to the person that is willing to hear them.
Right. Your truth versus my truth, not the truth.
Oh, your truth versus my truth is not the truth.
There's only one truth.
There's only one truth. Bro, how are you just spitting fire today?
Quote it.
Clip it and ship it. Holy cow. That's good. Yeah. God, man, we're getting on so many gold nuggets here that are going to be repeated for as long as we continue to do this. And listen, I just, coming off of this, because we're going to be wrapping up here shortly. I think that maybe the bigger picture here is that I ask everybody be willing to hear what somebody else is truly saying to you, and like be willing to examine it from a student's perspective instead of from a defensive operator or a defensive business owner. Just be and even if you've been beaten down and you've been beat on and you're just worn down, approach it as a student and seek like-minded people around you. And because that's why we've kind of built Detailers OS. And that's a really great segment opportunity, is that we built Detailers OS as a free Facebook group to cut out all the negative horseshit and BS that we see going on in these groups. Because, like, don't get me wrong, there's going to be people that have different opinions about things. But what's not going to be is we're not going to let people post toxic and sexist garbage anymore. And we're going to keep it above board, like nothing held back business wise, and just real honesty and actionable stuff. And just to give you guys a safe haven and to give you guys a place to go, please join our free group. It's called Detailer OS, nothing held back. Please join. We want to see you there. We want to see you ask questions and actively participate. Like, we're not gonna make you feel bad. We're not gonna like put you on blast. We're not gonna like make you feel like a piece of crap. Although I've been guilty of doing that to some other people, and I acknowledge I need to get better. And that's why this is here, so that I have a place to say, don't do that here. Our job is to make people feel is to make it feel like you have a place to go and ask questions. That's why we want to see you there. So please join Detailer OS, join us in the conversation. And if you have the opportunity, jump up to Detailers OS Magnified Growth as we continue to roll out new features for Detailer OS. Because at the end of the day, we're just trying to give everybody a system and a reliable place to go that they can truly ask for help without being judged. And
you said it best there. I don't have anything.
Nothing? Not at all.
I mean, you just can't. You shouldn't do it alone. You can't do it alone. You shouldn't do it alone, and that's what the community's for, right? Yep. No drama, just value, just real honest feedback, and hopefully everyone can utilize some of the things in there and just grow. Because that's literally, I was on a conversation today, and I said, I don't care about and of course I care about our company, but I care about less about our company than your company. Like I want to see business owners profitable and thrive, because obviously if that happens, then you'll work with us one day. So someone was like, why are you messaging me? And I was like, well, one day I want to work with you. I'm just flat out honest. Like that's how we are. But at the same time, I'd rather give all the free advice like we're doing in Detailer OS.
That's it. Nothing held back, no bullshit in Detailer OS. Nothing at all. Listen, guys, Tyler, thanks for hanging out with me. Hopefully we'll do some more of these. We're going to be doing some more live streams. We're going to be rocking some webinars soon. And we truly appreciate you guys hanging out with us today for episode 1 of the live series for Talkin Paint. Maybe we'll just keep doing them live. Who knows? But thank you very much for being here. Tyler, thanks for hanging out. Make sure you can find Tyler and I both on Facebook. Feel free to send us a message or add us. We appreciate everybody. Tyler, thanks for hanging out. Guys, just thank you once again. Make sure that you're following us on Facebook, and you're following us on Instagram. Sub to the YouTube. Jump over to Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can find the Talking Paint podcast on both platforms and basically everywhere you purchase your podcasts. That's a little bit of a joke because you can't pay for you don't pay for public podcasts, right? So I appreciate you guys being here, And the messages that I get on a daily basis, and the messages and emails that I get from people who have been listening for a long time and who have been truly appreciative of the time and energy that myself and Tyler have put into this. I just want to say thank you to all of you. The feedback from you and the messages from you truly mean a lot to me, and they mean a lot to Tyler. So thank you so much for listening and being willing to show up as a student and being willing to want to be better. So thank you so much for being here. And I'm going to roll some ad roll here on the way out. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Give me 60 seconds and I'm going to tell you why your marketing strategy sucks for your shop. If you run a detail, window tint, or specialize in ceramic coatings and paint protection film, you may have found yourself asking, why aren't we getting enough leads? The problem is deeper than exposure or awareness. It's about the system behind your business. A basic website and occasional ads is not going to cut it. My own shop was once in the same position. We have the skills, we got the drive, we got the passion, but not enough cars in the shop to do the work. After testing and refining a comprehensive strategy, everything changed. That's how my shop scaled to 7 figures. The system isn't a one-off success. It's been adapted and applied across the industry, from detailers just starting out to established businesses scaling to 7 and even 8 figures. Set up a call with me at the link below. We'll audit your current strategy, and I'm going to tell you how we can help you fix your marketing, grow faster, and do it better. At Detailing Growth, we don't just build websites. We create conversion engines, and we've done it hundreds of times for some of the biggest, baddest shops in the entire country. These aren't just websites. They're websites built using my RACE framework. Recognize, align, client-centric benefits, and execute. We've spent years honing this system, upgrading it with every build, learning what works, learning what doesn't, and evolving this every step of the way. That's why the industry's leading shops choose Detailing Growth.
I highly recommend Detailing Growth if you want to grow, if you really want to excel in your area, and if you want to dominate your competition.
You guys are the most professional looking shop, top to bottom.
You have a detailing, PPF, window tinting, ceramic coating business. Highly recommend going to Detailing Growth. The only company you'll need to work with.
Go with Detailing Growth. That's what you need for your business.
The Talkin Paint podcast is brought to you by Detailing Growth. That's detailinggrowth.com. Detailing Growth is the industry's only US-based full stack agency that provides you with full custom web design, ongoing SEO, local SEO via Google Business Profile, ad management for Google and Meta, and an entire business suite of automations with our Grit Suite CRM. Detailing Growth also helps businesses with consulting and business coaching and systems implementation. Head over to detailinggrowth.com and sign up for a free strategy session.
Looking to protect your ride and keep it looking brand new? At Ceramic Pro Pottstown, we're the #1 paint protection film, window tint, and ceramic coating installer. Our paint protection film defends against rock chips, scratches, and road debris, keeping your paint flawless for years. Our premium window tint not only enhances your car's style, but also blocks UV rays, reduces heat, and adds privacy. And with our high-performance ceramic coatings, your vehicle gets unmatched shine, protection, and easy maintenance. For the best protection and style, trust Ceramic Pro Pottstown, Pottstown's top choice for paint protection film, window tint, and ceramic coating.